मानसी मॅडम, हॅलो. हॅलो. माझा आवाज येतोय? हॅलो. युट्यूबला आवाज येतोय का माझा? मानसी मॅडम, हॅलो. हॅलो. आवाज येतोय माझा मानसी मॅडम? हॅलो. युट्यूबला आवाज येतोय का? हॅलो. हॅलो. आवाज येतोय? हॅलो. माझा आवाज येतोय? मानसी मॅडम, हॅलो. युट्यूबला आवाज येतोय का? हॅलो. 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 योगिता मॅडम, आवाज येतो का माझा युट्यूबला? हॅलो. 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 आकांक्षा मॅडम जॉईन झालेले आहेत. मॅडम प्रोग्राम सुरू करायचा.
हो चालेल.
हा तेजल, हॅलो. प्रोग्राम सुरू करा. हॅलो हॅलो तेजल. माझा आवाज येतोय?
येतोय सर.
हा मग कोण अँकरिंग कोण करतंय? प्रोग्राम सुरू करा ना.
प्रतीक्षा बोरसे करते सर.
प्रतीक्षा. प्रतीक्षा. प्रतीक्षा आहे का? हॅलो प्रतीक्षा, प्रोग्राम सुरू करा ना. मॅडम जॉईन झाले आहेत, प्रोग्राम सुरू करा. प्रतीक्षा माझा आवाज येतोय? प्रतीक्षा.
सर मी सांगते तिला कॉल करून दो. एकच मिनिट.
ठीक आहे.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pratiksha Borse. Firstly, welcome you all for today's program. As we know, National Statistic Day is celebrated every year on June 29th all over the India on the occasion of birth anniversary of statistician Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis. The aim of this day is to create public awareness about importance of data in socio-economic planning and policy formulation. On this occasion, we are connected here to hear about applications and opportunities in statistics. We have a very great personality between us, Dr. Akanksha Kashikar ma'am, as a chief guest for today's program. Welcome you ma'am. I request our HOD, Dr. Ferd sir, to welcome Akanksha ma'am.
माझा आवाज येतोय?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Dear students and participants, good morning to one and all. As the head Department of Statistics, first I welcome today's guest, Dr. Akanksha Kashikar ma'am. She is working as the assistant professor in Department of Statistics, SPPU Pune. Also, I welcome all the students, participants, and my colleagues present over here for the celebration of National Statistics Day. National Statistics Day is celebrated on 29th June every year, the birth anniversary of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis, to recognize his valuable contribution in statistics. Professor P.C. Mahalanobis is also known as the father of modern statistics in India. In 1930, he proposed Mahalanobis distance for the first time, which is a measure of comparison between two data sets and is used in cluster analysis. In 1932, he founded the ISI, Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. In 1933, he launched a very reputed Indian journal of statistics called Sankhya. In 1950, he established the NSS and set up the Central Statistical Organization to coordinate statistical activities. In 1955, he became a member of the Planning Commission. In 1968, he honored with the Padma Vibhushan. His most important contributions are related to large-scale sample survey. Now I am going to tell something about our college. Our college, KRT Arts, BH Commerce, and AM Science College, popularly known as KTHM College, Nasik, was established in 1969 and enjoy the privilege of being one of the best college affiliated to Savitribai Phule Pune University with consistently outstanding performance record. The college has been reaccredited with A++ grade with CGPA 3.79 in 2017. The UGC has granted a status of college with potential for excellence to the college. Our Department of Statistics was established in 1980. Our department offers BSc in Statistics and the only college in Nasik district who offers MSc in Statistics. Our department regularly organizes the workshops, seminars, webinars, and different student-related activities to popularize the statistics. In our department, currently there are 8 faculty members. Out of them, 2 faculty members having doctoral degree and 1 is pursuing his PhD. Our principal, Dr. R.D. Darekar sir, always encourages us for conducting various activities. I thank Principal sir for his guidance and continuous support. I thank our guest, eminent speaker, Dr. Akanksha Kashikar ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Once again, I welcome you all, and I am sure that you will enjoy this lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Everyone, please note we have a question answer session at the last of program. So those who want to ask the question, they can ask during the question answer session. So it's time to hear about Akanksha ma'am. Ma'am is currently working as assistant professor at Department of Statistics, Savitribai Phule Pune University since 2012. She has completed her master's and PhD in statistics from the same university. Her research interests mainly include branching process, count data time series, and applied statistics. She has more than 15 publications to her credit in various international journals, including the Journal of Statistical Planning and Inference, Statistics and Probability Letters, Annals of Institute of Statistical Mathematics, Communications in Statistics, Environmental Science and Pollution Research, Proteome Science, Journal of Astrophysics and Astronomy, etc. She is also involved in several interdisciplinary projects related to biodiversity and astrophysics. She has worked as a referee for the Journal of Applied Statistics, Annal of Institute of Statistical Mathematics, Mathematical Reviews, Communications in Statistics, etc. She is currently working as executive editor for Journal of Indian Statistical Association. Ma'am has received the Young Statistician Award from the Indian Society for Probability and Statistics, the Young Scientist Award from the Society of Statistics and Computer Applications, India, and the Best Paper Award from the Indian Society for Medical Statistics. She also received a short-term research fellowship through Indo-Japanese Young Researcher Fellowship Program by Indian National Science Academy, Department, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. The Japanese Society Promotion of Science to carry out a research project at Institute of Statistical Mathematics, Tokyo. In 2022, she received the Best Innovative Teacher Award from Savitribai Phule Pune University. Ma'am is particularly interested in science popularization and has written articles related to maths, stats in Marathi newspapers and periodicals. She has also won an award for innovative teaching from Pune chapter of National Academy of Science, India and SPPU. Recently, she composed a song on a regression analysis, which also won an award from the Center of Science, Education and Communication, SPPU. Ma'am's other interests include Indian classical music, languages, and psychology. She has completed undergraduate studies in North Indian classical music. She has also cleared N2, the second highest level of a Japanese language proficiency test conducted by Japan Foundation. She has also completed a Sanskrit solve their personal problems. Very super excited to hear you. So I request ma'am to guide us.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to interact with all of you. And thanks, Pratiksha, for the nice introduction. Uh, Let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about some applications of statistics and opportunities, future career opportunities, future higher education opportunities, and so on. So who is this? Whose photo is this? Any, if someone has written the answer, yes, then let me. Okay, you can type your answer. Instead of raising hand, you can type your answer in the chat, right? Who is this person?
मॅडम फुल स्क्रीन नाही करता येणार का?
नाही नाही, मी केलेला आहे ना फुल स्क्रीन. नाही झालेला का?
नाही ना.
ओके, लेट मी ट्राय शेअरिंग अगेन. आता दिसतोय फुल स्क्रीन का नाही?
नाही.
ओके. How about now? Is it full screen now?
गायत्री पवार कोण
No,
आहे?
ma'am.
स्क्रीन दिसते.
नाही? Now it should, I mean, or I'll have to switch off my video perhaps. Let me try switching off my video if that helps. Yes. Can you see it full screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
No, ma'am.
now it should be full screen.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see any problem. So I was asking, who is this person? Are you aware of this person? Can you see a photo?
Sukhatme.
Yes, Dr. Sukhatme. Okay, so he was perhaps one of the earliest statisticians in Maharashtra. And I would like to start with his story because we are talking about applications in statistics. And as far as Indian applications are concerned, we can't really ignore him. Okay, so Dr. Sukhatme did PhD in statistics long back when statistics was not even taught in India. So he went abroad and he did PhD there in UK. And when he came back, at that time, he thought that he would start teaching statistics and start doing research in statistics in India. So one of the topmost universities in those times was BHU, that is Banaras Hindu University. And this person, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, was vice chancellor of that university. So Dr. Sukhatme applied there for a teaching post and a research post. And the interview, technical part of the interview, of course, went very well. There were no problems. And then at the end of the interview, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji asked Dr. Sukhatme, so you are saying that you would like to teach a new subject because statistics was not known at that time in India. So he said that you are trying to teach a new subject. You say that you are going to do research in this new subject, but ours is a very poor country. We can't really afford to do research just because we want to do research. Our country should get something out of it. So what is the benefit to our country from your subject? That was the question Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji asked. And that led Professor Sukhatme to think. And later, he decided that he won't just focus on theoretical statistics, he would do theoretical statistics, but at the same time, he would try to make sure that the country who is feeding him would benefit from it. And he actually did a lot of research in agricultural statistics. In fact, the research in agricultural statistics that he started went on to become so great that now we can see an independent institute, IASRI, that is Indian Agricultural Statistics Research Institute in Delhi. Okay, so that research led to a creation of a new institute, and he trained many agricultural scientists, which designed many experiments, which in turn led to improvement in production, identifying useful fertilizers, identifying useful cultivation technologies, and that resulted in improvement in agricultural yield not only in India, but many of these people also went to many other underdeveloped countries, particularly African countries, and they helped even those economies. Okay, so the original, the beginning of statistics in India was itself applied. In fact, our planning commission, if you read the history of planning commission, Professor Mahalnobis was part of it. So statistics in India has been applied. This is another story from the beginning of our independent India's administration. So in 1947, we know that our country became independent, but at the same time it had to undergo partition, and that created a lot of problems. Many people were staying as refugees. They lost their homes. People from both the countries, so they lost their homes. So in Delhi, in various parts of Delhi, some refugee camps were set up and people were living there. So one such camp was also inside Red Fort. Okay, and the government was supplying food to these refugees, and of course the government doesn't do any job on its own directly. The job of supplying food was given to a contractor who used to cook food every day and deliver that food in the refugee camps. And at the end of the week or a month, the contractor used to submit bills back to the government, and the government would pay the contractor. Now the problem was, we know that majority of the times whenever contractors get something, they want to have their own bite in it. Okay, so the administration at that time suspected that the contractor is inflating the bills. Okay, so the actual bill was perhaps less, but the problem was the government had no idea of exactly how many people are staying inside each refugee camp, because the situation was very volatile. People were angry at each other, they were hating each other. So going inside and counting people was not a practical solution. So they wanted to visit Red Fort or other places to ascertain the number of refugees living there, but they couldn't do that. And the contractor was exactly making sure of making use of this opportunity. He was inflating the bills, he was inflating the number of people over there, and as a result, he was getting paid much more than what he was deserving. So at that time also, a statistician came to rescue. Okay. So what he realized was that, okay, the contractor was giving bill ingredient wise. This much money was spent on flour, this much money was spent on rice, this much money was spent on vegetables, this much money was spent on salt, sugar, etc. The statistician realized that salt was the cheapest ingredient. Even today, salt is going to be the cheapest ingredient if you are looking at the ingredients in our house. Then he realized that even if he inflates the rate of salt, there is not much benefit that is going to be there. Okay. So the statistician made an assumption that perhaps the amount of salt that the person is using is exactly same as what amount of salt claimed in the bill is exactly same as the amount of salt that is being used. Because in salt, there are two things. First is you can't just inflate it to very high amount because salt is used in a very low quantity. And secondly, you can't get much even if you increase 1 kg or 2 kg of salt. The total amount of money that you're going to get, additional money, is not going to be very high. So what the statistician did was, he did a survey of households in Delhi and he established a relationship as how much salt is needed per person per meal. Okay. And assuming that the people in refugee camps are eating exactly similar type of food, he estimated the number of people living in the refugee camps. And it actually turned out to be much less than what the contractor was claiming. Okay. As a result, the corruption could be proved and caught using statistics. That's how Indian statistics got started. Okay. And in today's world, of course, you can see lots of applications around. So we will first we will go through some applications and then we will come to the opportunities and career part of it. So this is now, let us now try to move outside also, because it's a global world, so we want to go outside India also. So here is one hand pump. Okay. Can you say something strange about this hand pump? Hand pump means hapsa. पाणी काढायला जो हापसा असतो ना. This is supposed to be that hand pump. Do you see anything strange about this hand pump? Yes. Anyone? You can either talk or chat or don't. I mean, I hope people have access to chats, right? They can type, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. There is no handle. Correct. Correct. So, in this hand pump, there is no handle. And if there is no handle, how would you draw the water? So, this photo is from England. Okay. So, if you visit England, you can go visit this hand pump. So, of course, this is new, but there was an old hand pump and they have created a replica of it and established it here. Why is this hand pump so important? Because this is the pump that changed the course of epidemiology. What do I mean by that? Last 3-4 years, we have been dealing with COVID, and everyone is telling us wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. So, who told us that washing hands is necessary? So, one of the reasons is this hand pump. So the story is there was this physician called John Snow. Okay. So he was a physician, means he was a medical doctor. And in the 19th century, means around between 1846 to 1860, there was a worldwide cholera pandemic. Just like COVID pandemic, there was a cholera pandemic. And just like we had waves at different places in different times. For example, in India, we had a first wave much later than in, say, China. Okay. So similarly, they had different waves. So in 1854, in the Soho district of the city of Westminster in London, there was a cholera outbreak near Broad Street. And this was a big outbreak. It killed 616 people. And at that time, in those days, the sources of cholera were not known. People used to think, the scientists used to think that the cholera spreads through air. They did not know that cholera spreads through contaminated water. But this John Snow was one of the early people who had a hunch that cholera perhaps spreads through water. So what he did was, he did some insightful visualization of the available data. Okay, so this is a map of that area where cholera outbreak was there. Of course, this is not the map drawn by the graph drawn by John Snow. It was black and white and hand drawn. I've got a colorful modern version of it. So can you see my cursor? Arrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is a map of this is a map of London. And what John Snow did was a very simple thing, a very, very easy visualization. What he did was, he took this and then these blue tabs, you can see the blue tabs. These blue tabs are the locations of hand pumps. So people used to fetch water from these pumps. And then he recorded the residence of every patient, every cholera patient, and then he drew circles. And the size of the circle denotes the number of patients. So for example, here you have a very big circle. That means there are too many patients over here. Whereas here you have very small circles, which means that very few patients are here. Okay. So he marked the residences of all the patients and he realized that, see, majority of the patients are near this tap. Okay, there are no patients in the neighborhood of this tap or hand pump. There are very few patients in the neighborhood of this. No patients here, very few patients here. So majority of the patients were perhaps using water from this hand pump, which could perhaps be contaminated. This is what he suspected. Okay. So what he did was he advised the people that you shouldn't use water from this hand pump. But of course, people don't listen. Okay. We saw it while using masks. People don't listen. So finally, what authorities did, they removed the handle of that pump. If the handle is removed, you cannot extract water. If you cannot extract water, then you can't use the water. And that's what they did. Hence, that pump became famous. So they removed the handle and people stopped. As a result, people had to stop using the water. And as a result, the epidemic actually, spread of the epidemic actually slowed down. Okay. So that's why this hand pump changed the course of epidemiology. It was one of the important factors which established that cholera spreads through contaminated water and not just through air. Okay. This is okay. So this was one of the stories of the very early times. But even later, there are some interesting stories where statistics was useful in discovering things. For example, without statistics, we wouldn't know that smoking was bad. Now, when I say this, I'm sure many of you are laughing. Everyone knows smoking is bad. How come you are saying without statistics, we wouldn't know that? See, again, I'm talking of the times when people did not know smoking was bad. So this is a study from 1950. Okay. So in 1950s, smoking started after 1900s. Okay, smoking became prevalent after 1900s. And in 1950s, people used to smoke a lot. Smoking was considered cool. Smoking was not considered bad. In fact, if you see movies, you can see hero always smokes, right? So this, some doctors had started suspecting that smoking causes lung cancer. Because why did they suspect that? Because earlier, means prior to 1900, there were hardly any cases of lung cancer. Okay, there was almost no lung cancer in the entire world. Whereas after 1900s, when smoking started becoming popular, the number of lung cancer cases started increasing. Hence, some doctors started suspecting that smoking might be one of the causes of lung cancer. But other doctors did not believe them. And a majority of the politicians did not want to buy this argument. Why? Because cigarette factories were backbone of the economy. They were generating a lot of revenue. They were employing many people. So if you shut down a cigarette factory, then your economy is going to get hurt. So politicians did not want to hurt their economies, and hence they did not want to buy this argument that smoking can be a cause for lung cancer. So what these people, Winder and Graham, did was they carried out a research study where first they took a random sample from the population and saw how many were smokers and how many were non-smokers. So you can see here 74% people that they interviewed admitted that they were heavy smokers, and 26% people admitted that they were either non-smokers or very light smokers. Okay, again, note the numbers 74 and 26. I have not interchanged them by mistake. As I said, smoking was considered cool, and hence majority, 2/3 of the people, not 2/3, in fact, 3/4 of the people were smoking. Okay. Then they took a similar random sample from lung cancer patients. And what they observed was in lung cancer patients, only 4% people were light or non-smokers, whereas 96% people were heavy smokers. Now, if there is no relationship between smoking and lung cancer, then ideally, whether you take a sample of entire population or whether you take a sample of lung cancer patients, the proportion of smokers and non-smokers should remain roughly the same. But as soon as you focus your interest to lung cancer patients, the proportion of smokers has become very high. It is 96%. So this was one of the key evidences that smoking causes lung cancer. Of course, they did some further statistical studies also, but a simple pie chart that you study in BSc first year could prove such an important link. Another area where statistics is used is psephology. Psephology is election prediction. So without statistics, we wouldn't know who won the election. First of all, of course, counting is there. Counting tally marks is statistics that we know. And secondly, even in election prediction, there are different ways. There are opinion polls, there are exit polls, and then there are some surveys. So what are opinion polls? Opinion polls are the studies that are carried out before before the elections. Okay, so before the election, you go to people, you ask them whom are you going to vote, you record that. Exit polls are after the election. So after a person votes, you ask the person whom did you vote. Okay, so exit polls are generally much more successful because people have already voted, so they give you the true answer. In opinion polls, what happens is they tell you one answer, but in between something happens, perhaps a surgical strike happens, and they change their opinion and they vote for another party. Okay. So opinion polls, exit polls, all these things require a nice statistical study. Why? Because if you don't use statistics, then some strange things can happen. A story from United States. So we started with story from India, then we went to UK, now we are in United States. So this is Truman. He was president of United States. You must have read his name in the history books. So what happened was when Truman was contesting election, at that time his main competitor was Dewey. Okay, and the psephologists were trying to predict who is going to win. And in those days, so Truman was president in I think 1940s or something. So in those days, printing technology and transportation were not that well developed. Okay. So what used to happen was if you print newspaper today in a city like say Pune, it would take more than 24 hours for that newspaper to reach remote places. Okay. So if you are staying in a remote place, in a small place, then you cannot read today's newspaper today. You will have to read yesterday's newspaper today. Okay, so you get stale news. But there was no choice. That used to happen. So this Chicago Daily Tribune. So what happened was this Chicago Daily Tribune, whoever was the editor, he felt that ideally, if today election results are going to get declared, then in tomorrow's newspaper, people would like to read the results of election. Correct? But if the results get declared today evening, then we will print them at night and we will send out the packets in the morning. But people will not get packets on the same day. So people will get to read the news after 24 hours. So they won't know who has won or lost. So what he thought was, let us go to a psephologist. So there was a psephologist who had been successful in predicting earlier 3-4 elections. So he thought that anyway, earlier elections, this psephologist has predicted very correctly. Let's take his opinion. And if he says that Truman is going to win, we will print Truman has won. If he says that Dewey is going to win, we will print that Dewey is going to win and we will send out the newspaper. So people will get to read the result exactly when they should get to read it. And anyway, the psephologist makes correct predictions. So we don't have to worry. Whoever he says is going to win will win. That's what he thought. So he consulted that psephologist, and that psephologist told that yes, I have done my survey like earlier times, and it seems that Truman is going to get defeated by Dewey and by a very large amount. Okay, so Dewey is going to win with many votes. So the newspaper printed this headline, Dewey defeats Truman, and sent out. Unfortunately for the editor, What happened was, next day, when the results came in, the results were exactly opposite. Truman had defeated Dewey, and not by a small margin, but by a very large margin. Why did this happen? This happened because the cephalogist forgot whatever was taught in his first, perhaps very first statistics class. What was that? See, in all these opinion polls or exit polls, you take a sample. You cannot ask each and every voter his or her opinion. You don't have that much resources. So, what you normally do is you take a sample of people and you ask those people. So, if that sample is representative, then your answers are going to be correct. But if that sample is biased, if that sample is not representative of your entire population, then your results are going to be wrong. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? So, what happened is this cephalogist, what was his way of working? Every time, whenever he used to, he wanted to make some predictions, what he would do is he would send out some volunteers with a form. Those volunteers would visit people, go to their homes, ask them questions, and ask them, whom are you going to vote for? Okay, the Democrats or the Liberals, the two important parties in US. Okay, in this particular year, what happened was this cephalogist got a phone, telephone, okay, landline phone. And what he thought was that, okay, I've got a telephone, so why should I send out volunteers? I can simply sit in the comfort of my home. I can call up the person, whoever I want to talk to, and I can ask their opinion. In fact, I would take a big sample. So, what he did was he took a random sample from the directory. I don't know how many of you have seen a landline phone or a directory for that matter. But when landline phones were common, there used to be a directory which would give you phone numbers of all the people living in that city. So he randomly took a sample from that directory, and he felt because he is randomly choosing, it's a random sample. And he called up people, he asked their opinion, and majority of them told that they are going to vote for Dewey. So he gave this headline that Dewey defeats Truman. Now what happened was, that was the first time that he had got access to telephone. And he was a big time cephalogist who was getting paid very high. So telephone was only the elite class accessory at that time. Normal middle class people or lower class people, they did not have access to telephone. So even though he took a random sample from the directory, all those people were actually belonging to very affluent socio-economic category, elite class. So they all wanted to vote for Dewey, no doubt there. But in any society, we know that the proportion of elite class individuals is very less, and the middle class or the lower class people, they are very high in number. And all of them, majority of them, favored Truman. As a result, the conclusion was exactly opposite of what it should have been. And this happened simply because he forgot the first statistics class, which says that the sample should be representative of the population. Okay. In fact, we also did our own election predictions in 2019 parliamentary elections. So we predicted for Maharashtra, see, there are 48 seats. And you can see ours was an opinion poll, even though this news channel says exit poll, ours was an opinion poll. So as part of MSc project, 3 of my students did this work, Vinay Tiwari, Vishwanath and Sharat Kolse. So these 3 people did this work, and we gave these intervals for the number of seats. And you can see our predictions turned out to be quite correct. For BJP, we predicted 17 to 23 seats, and actual results are 23. For NCP, we predicted 3 to 9 seats, they got 4. For Shiv Sena, we predicted 16 to 21, they got 18. And for Congress, we predicted 1 to 6, they got 1 seat. Okay. And for others, there is 1 prediction, others got 2. Okay. So using statistical tools and nowadays using machine learning tools, we could do election predictions, and it is one of the interesting study areas. Okay, so this was actually covered by this news channel. These students got interviewed, etc. Another important area where statistics is used is pharmaceutical industry or clinical trials. You all know COVID vaccines. There were multiple vaccines, then there were studies, then there were discussions about their problems, whether they cause blood clots, whether they cause heart attacks, and many such things. So for all those studies, you need statistics. So if you don't have statistics, lab mice would have nothing to do. Okay. The origin of these clinical trials is also interesting. So James Cook was perhaps the first person who conducted clinical trial. James Cook, who was James Cook? Captain Cook. So he was actually a voyager. Voyager means when many countries were not known. You know how India was discovered? Many sailors used to try and visit India. So they would start from Europe in big ships, and then those ships would sail across the ocean and try to find new lands. That's how America was discovered. That's how India was discovered, and so on. Okay. So James Cook was one such sailor. Okay, so he was captain of his ship, and he used to go on long voyages, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, etc. And when these people used to travel in the sea for such a long time, they would not have access to the food. So they would have to carry all the food with them. And what was observed that in many of these ships, people used to develop some health complications, and die. And they would develop similar health complications. So what this James Cook observed was that if people eat a particular cabbage pickle, then they are less likely to get sick. That's what he observed in some of the voyages, and he decided to experiment with it. He decided to conduct kind of a clinical trial with it. Of course, he did not know that it would be called a clinical trial later. So what he did was, in one particular voyage, he instructed everyone that we are going to maintain our ship very cleanly. Okay, so we are going to maintain a hygienic environment. If we don't want to die, nobody wants to die, right? And secondly, everyone has to eat this cabbage pickle every day. Okay, it is compulsory for everyone to eat this cabbage pickle every day. And it turned out that on his ship, he lost very few people compared to all other ships where many people used to lose their lives. Okay. Later, it was discovered that the disease with which people used to die was scurvy. Scurvy is because we know that scurvy is caused by lack of vitamin C. And normally we get vitamin C by, through foods such as lemon and orange, etc. But on the ships, when you are traveling for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, you don't have access to fresh fruits, and vitamin C cannot get stored. Only in this cabbage pickle, it could get retained, and hence, if you regularly eat cabbage pickle, then you would get the required amount of vitamin C, and then you wouldn't develop scurvy complications. Okay. But then, when you are conducting such a clinical trial, you need to decide many parameters. For example, if you're inventing a new drug, first you need to establish that the drug is safe. So how do you say safe? Because we know that people are even allergic to some foods. So whatever is safe for you need not be safe for me. So what is the definition of safe? If I give that drug to 100 people, how many of them should say that, okay, yes, I did not develop any problem for that drug to be considered as safe? All those decisions, statistician has to be there. Then efficacy means if I'm inventing a new drug, then it would go in the market only if it is if it is doing whatever it claims to do. For example, if I say my drug is supposed to cure headache in 10 minutes, then actually a person taking my drug should get relief in 10 minutes. Now we know biologically every person is different. So not everyone is going to get relief in exactly 10 minutes. Some would feel relief in 5 minutes. Some would feel relief in 15 minutes. Some may not feel relief at all. Again, through all these variations, how do you decide that whether your drug is efficient or not? You again need statistics. And the third is comparison of efficiency. So I have to decide whether my drug is better than the existing drug. because then only people are going to buy it. So for that also, you need to decide better means what. Some people will respond more to first drug. Some people will respond better to second drug. So what should be the difference in those number of peoples for me to sufficiently to have sufficient evidence to claim that my drug is actually better? Okay. So all such decisions have to be taken in clinical trials where statistics is used. For example, even these cosmetics, you can see the highlighted areas. So they claim to have something, spot breaker technology, younger looking skin in 7 days. So you can actually hold these companies responsible to their claims. They're answerable to their claims. Okay. So for that, they all need studies, trial studies, where statisticians are necessary in mainly two works. First is to decide sample size, and second is to analyze the result, whether the results you have got really support your claim or not. And the entire branch of statistics that is used in this is known as design of experiments, and the origin of this branch is very interesting. Okay, so we will go back to UK now. So in Cambridge University, there was a tradition that on a summer evening or a summer afternoon, many professors and their wives, they used to gather in a garden inside the university campus, and they used to drink tea. Okay. London doesn't have a very, what would you say, pleasant atmosphere. It rains a lot. So on a summer afternoon, it is pleasant. It is not rainy. So it is sunny. So people are happy. And then they used to gather and have tea together. One such afternoon, many professors, their wives, they were drinking tea. And it's a
हा मॅडम आवाज आवाज येत नाही का? मॅडमचा आवाज येतोय बाकीच्यांना?
No, sir.
नाही सर.
हा हा
No, sir.
तुमचा आवाज येत नाही मॅडम.
sorry.
हा आवाज आला नाही मॅडम पाठीमागचे 1-2 मिनिट.
Okay. But can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So from where now you can hear me, right?
Yes, 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 ma'am.
Okay. So did you get to hear this tea story?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. So I was saying that in Cambridge, there was a tradition in Cambridge University that on a summer afternoon, professors and their wives used to gather in a garden and drink tea. Okay. And this is a British style tea, not Indian style tea. So they used to have a tea mixture in one kettle, then milk in another kettle, and they would pour as per their own requirement. So I want milk more, or I want tea mixture more, and so on. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So one lady claimed that if you add tea first and then add milk, and the tea tastes different. So if you add milk first and then add tea, it tastes different. Others, of course, started laughing. They said that, see, once you add things in the cup, you're anyway going to mix them with a stirrer. So it shouldn't matter whether you add tea first or whether you add the mixture, milk first. Okay. So everyone started laughing. But she said, no, no, no. I want tea in my own way. So I would decide whether to add tea first or milk first. At that time, one young professor came forward. So he is, I hope most of you know his face. He is Sir Ronald Fisher, R.A. Fisher, who is considered the father of modern statistics. So he said that, see, we all are scientists, we all are professors, so we should not dismiss anyone's claim without actually validating it. So he said that let us design an experiment. Let us examine whether whatever she says, it is true. Okay. So how do you design an experiment? So you want to decide whether the taste changes depending on the order of the ingredients. Okay. Now, whether the taste changes, not everyone can decide. For example, I may not have a very sensitive tongue, so I may not be able to sense the difference. But you may have a very sensitive tongue, so you may feel the difference. So if this lady claims that she can feel the difference, let us ask her. So let us give her multiple cups. In each cup, we will change the order. In some cups, we will add milk first. In some cups, we will add tea first. And then we will ask her to guess, okay, whether milk was added first or tea was added first. And now there are many questions here. How many cups should be presented? In what order should they be presented? And suppose you give her, say, 8 cups. Then she may not guess all 8 correctly. But if she guesses 7, then should we say that her claim is correct? If she guesses 6, should we say that her claim is correct? Okay. So all these questions led to the development of design of experiments theory that you study in BSc. Okay. So these are various applications of statistics from the history. Now some recent applications. So if you want to count tigers, nowadays you have radio chips, you have cameras, you have infrared sensors and whatnot. But in like maybe 20 years back, no such technology was there. So people used to count animals based on pug marks. Now, when I visit a jungle, when I visit a forest, and when I record the pug marks, I have to decide whether the multiple pug marks belong to the same tiger or they are for different tigers, because finally I want to count the number of tigers. So I will need a way to decide which pug marks belong to a same tiger and which pug marks belong to a different tiger. So what people did was they took this kind of readings. So the distance between these fingers, then the distance from the big thing and these individual toes, and they created this multivariate data set and carried out something called as cluster analysis to decide whether pug marks belong to a same tiger or different tigers. Then whenever we purchase a new thing, whether it be a car or a mixer or a phone, many a times it comes with warranties. So how can companies decide how much warranty should be provided? So if you buy a smartphone, no smartphone manufacturer is going to provide you a 5-year warranty because they know in 5 years their product is useless. What they provide you is at most 6 months warranty. Okay, or at most 1 year, mostly 6 months. So how do they decide that 6-month warranty is something they can afford? For that, they need to find out probability of a phone getting broken within 6 months. So you need probability distributions. You need the study of that. Similarly, how much fund should be kept for warranty? So if your phone has 1 year warranty, and if something happens to your phone within that 1 year, then you can get the replacement parts for free. Correct? So like you, there are many other people who are going to get replacements for free. So company has to keep some money aside for such free replacement. So how much money should be kept aside, that they need to decide. For that also, they need statistics. Okay. Quality control is another area where statistics is used a lot. And perhaps Shabri is the first person who did quality control. But what she did was, she did a full census. So she tasted each and every fruit that she was offering to Ram. Okay. But we cannot do that if our testing involves destruction. So for example, if you have to test light bulbs, if you have to test life of light bulbs, you cannot keep them running because that will decrease their life. Okay. So this is another area where statistics is used a lot. Nowadays, we do everything on the internet. So how does internet work? Google's PageRank algorithm uses linear algebra and optimization in statistics. Okay. For example, if I want to book flights to Paris, if I just search Paris, many things can come. So how does Google decide that which results are important to you? Their algorithm needs statistics. Their algorithm also needs text mining. Nowadays, our emails are categorized. If we get primary, then updates, then forums, all such categories for the emails. So how do we decide I mean, how does the Gmail decide which emails are useful, which emails are social emails, which emails are updates? So for that, text mining is done, and text mining uses Bayes theorem, which is again a part of your first year statistics curriculum. Okay. Then you have email advertisements. I routinely get advertisements of data mining courses and data science courses because many of my emails contain that word. Then you have OCR. OCR is optical character recognition. So if I have handwritten something, can I get it scanned and then get it converted into typewritten text? That saves me a lot of time. So that is what OCR does. Machine translation. So I am talking in English. You want to listen to me in Marathi. Can machine translate it for you? And of course, in all these things, you need statistics. You can't simply use a dictionary. Why? Because read the first sentence. King Shivaji killed Afzal Khan by poetry. Does the sentence make sense? You cannot kill someone with the help of poetry, right? The original sentence was Shivaji Maharajanni kavyane Afzal. Now, whether this is kavyane or kavyane, a dictionary cannot tell you that. Dictionary will list all the meanings. But you need statistics to say that, okay, if there is a death involved, then it perhaps is more likely to be a kavyane, that is ganimikawa, rather than poetry. Okay. So for that, you again need statistics and Bayes theorem. Weather forecast is another area where statistics is used. In fact, our IMD and IITM, the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology and Indian Meteorological Division, they use lot of machine learning and statistics models, time series model for forecasting how the monsoon is going to be every time, whether there are going to be floods, whether there are going to be droughts and hailstorms, etc. Okay. Ayurvedic doctors categorize people into three prakritis, kapha, pitta, vata. So are there any genetic level differences in it? So if you want to say validate Ayurveda findings with the help of modern medical findings, then also you are going to need statistics. So these are the genetic compositions for a particular gene. You can see here higher values correspond to kapha people, lower values correspond to pitta people, moderate values correspond to vata people, and so on. Okay. Then do birds know geometry? So if you want to go in ecology, behavioral ecology, there also you will need statistics. What do I mean by that? So we have regular migratory birds, Asian green bee eaters, Veda raghu. You might have seen. I don't have photo right now, but so why he's called Veda raghu is the bird because he roams around a lot. And another characteristic is this bird brings food to the baby, but while bringing food, the bird always waits on a branch or a wire and does not go back directly to the nest. Why? Because the bird is afraid. I'm sorry. The bird is afraid that if the bird flies directly to the nest, then the predator, be it a human being or some other big birds, they can identify the location of the nest and that will be harmful to the young ones or to the eggs. Okay. So ecologists from Pune actually designed a study where they examined whether the bird really thinks that way. And they proved that yes, the bird spends more time waiting if a person is watching, whereas the bird spends less time waiting if a person is not watching. Okay. And then these are some of the studies that we did as part of MSc projects. So we tried to predict IPL auction prices and we realized that the players who are moderate in their performance, they get generally what they deserve. But the top players get so predicted prices are in red and actual prices are in black. Okay. So the top players get much more than they deserve. Why? Because they have a brand value. So once your brand is developed, then you get much higher than what you deserve. On the other hand, players who are new, they get much less than they deserve because their brand is not established yet. So even if they play well, they're not going to get that much paid. Okay. Another important area where statistics research can be used is astrostatistics. So we did classification of neutron stars using statistics. Forensic science. Okay. So nowadays you have this genetic studies and all, genetic profiling. But in earlier days, if a skeleton is found, you first need to make sure that the bones belong to a human being. First, you need to test that. After that, you need to decide whether it's a male or a female. Then, if male or female, then belonging to which race or which maybe region, age, whether the bones are for adult or a kid. Okay, so all these studies need statistics. And nowadays, with data science, you actually need three things. You need math stats, you need some programming background, and you need domain or business knowledge. That actually makes up data science. Okay, domain or business knowledge is something that you go on learning from your client. So math stat is something that you need to study. Computer programming nowadays, softwares are helping you a lot. But the conceptual knowledge of math stat is where software cannot be used directly. Okay, so if you are looking for a career in data science, then first you have to be very good in the basic statistics that you are going to study in the coming 3 years. Okay, it starts with visualizations or exploratory data analysis, which is key to any data science project. Then you go on to the testing of hypothesis, where you learn some basic tests, and then you go for more advanced things like regression modeling or time series modeling. Okay. Now, to come to the career opportunities. So I would say there are three major branches in which you can think of. So first, let me talk about government sector, because even today, I feel that many parents prefer their kids to be in government sector. So in government sector, in administration, there are various options. You have Indian Statistical Services through UPSC, just like IAS. IAS is open for everyone, whereas ISS is for statistics people. So you have less competition. Okay, so through Indian Statistical Services, you can become an administrative officer. And then you have, through ISS, your posting could be either in Delhi or in the different field offices of NSSO. Okay, or in, there are administrative offices in Delhi also. Then you have Reserve Bank. Reserve Bank has research officer posts for statistics. Then you have SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India. Then through MPSC, you have an option of becoming district statistical officer. So you can get posted in any district of Maharashtra. Then you have some posts through Directorate of Economics, then Forest Department, State Transport. They also need statisticians, okay, for optimization and research. So all these options are available if you do BSc or MSc in statistics. In private corporate industry, you have pharma, where clinical trials divisions need statistics. You have finance companies, which need statisticians. Finance companies mainly need statisticians for trading, developing algorithms for trading. Okay. Then you have insurance companies. In insurance companies, there is something called as actuarial science. Okay. So whenever an insurance company designs a new policy, first you need to decide what should be the premium, what should be the payout, etc. And the policy should be profitable to the company, and at the same time it should be affordable to the customers, otherwise they won't buy it. So an actuary decides all this. So actuary does the analysis and decides what should be the premium paying rate, what should be the payout, etc. Okay. Then there are market research companies which need statisticians for designing their surveys and for analyzing their products, whether their products are performing better in some areas, then what are the areas in which it needs improvement, etc. Quality control. So in manufacturing sector, quality control and optimization are the two major areas where statistics is needed. Not just for that, even for inventory management in manufacturing, statistics is needed. And then there are some statistical software companies also. So the softwares that we use, those are developed in some companies. So they are also there. And of course, nowadays, every service industry needs a data scientist. So they hire statisticians because they know that programming can be studied easily if you know the statistics concepts. Okay. And of course, there is a traditional field of teaching and research. But for statisticians, teaching and research also has multiple options. You can do teaching and research in traditional statistics, like for example, teaching for BSc or MSc statistics students. At the same time, you can go for teaching and research in agricultural statistics or medical statistics. For example, under ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, there are many research institutes throughout India. In Pune, we have NIV, National Institute of Virology, where H1N1 or COVID samples were tested. Or you have NARI, National AIDS Research Institute. In Bangalore, you have NIMHANS, Mental Health Institute. So all these places need statisticians. Okay. In demography, operation research, and I forgot to mention weather, means tropical meteorology, so meteorological division. All these three fields also need statisticians. So statisticians have chance to enter into other fields while studying their own field. Okay, so if you are someone who likes to study more than one subject, then also statistics is our take. And I'm assuming you have already taken admission for BSc in your college. So for higher education, needs for MSc or for PhD, where can you go? So you can try, of course, Indian Statistical Institute. You can try IIT's, Indian Institute of Technology, or you
मॅडम
you are not.
आवाज येत नाही मॅडम. हॅलो हॅलो मॅडम, आवाज येत नाही तुमचा.
Aspect of our life. So let me stop here.
हॅलो मॅडम, हॅलो.
Yes.
हा मॅडम, तुमचा आवाज येत नव्हता. पुन्हा एकदा हे हायर एज्युकेशन एक्सप्लेन करता का?
Okay. करियर ऑप्शन्स वाली स्लाइड आली ना, ऐकू?
हायर एज्युकेशन.
Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that after BSc, you should go for MSc. Because in the long run, higher education is always going to help you a lot. So for MSc, assuming that you have already taken admission to BSc in your college, for MSc, you can try Indian Statistical Institute or IIT's, Indian Institute of Technology. So IIT Kanpur has a good statistics course. IIT Mumbai has a course on applied statistics and informatics. Of course, you can try coming to our campus, Savitribai Phule Pune University. And I mean in this order. Okay, first try for ISI. If you don't get in ISI, then go to IIT. If you don't get in IIT, then come to us. Then, if you don't get in our university, then there are many other universities, and there are some universities which have specialized courses like MSc in biostatistics or MSc in agricultural statistics. So you could explore even those options if you want to pursue a career in that particular field. Okay. Could you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think from my side, now I am going to stop. If you have any questions, then I can try answering those.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am has told us from how statistics is invented to its implementation through stories. And what are the career opportunities in statistics? So thank you so much, ma'am. Let's go towards the question answer session. So those who want to ask the question, they can turn on your mic and ask. Or if someone is facing problem, then they can drop a message in chat box.
So someone has asked, BSc courses are 3 or 4 years now. So actually you have a choice. You can do a 3-year BSc or you can do a 4-year BSc. After 3-year BSc, you can join for 2-year MSc in a university or an institute, or If you choose to do a 4-year BSc in a college, then for the you can come for 1-year MSc in a university. How should we apply for the job in banking sector as a fresher? Okay, for statisticians, generally banking sector, if you want to apply, private banks prefer campus recruitments. So they visit some campuses like ISI, IIT or Pune University, etc. And then they hire people as freshers. In some banks like State Bank, etc., they don't hire freshers, but you can take 1-year experience in any industry and then they advertise posts like credit risk analyst, etc., on their website or in newspapers. And once the posts are advertised, you can apply. And in RBI, for RBI, there is exam held every year. So you have to apply for that exam. You have to clear that written exam and then interview, and then you can get in. So RBI doesn't care about your experience.
आणखी कोणाला काही क्वेश्चन्स आहे?
Yes, if you do BSc statistics, then you can apply for MSc data science. Yes, that is possible. In fact, they would be happy to take BSc stats people because you already know the core part, which is generally difficult for others. What about financial analyst? Yeah, if you do MSc statistics, in MSc statistics, generally there are courses which are related to stochastic models in finance, which give you some basic idea about options and derivatives, etc. So once you know that and once you secure some more knowledge, you can join as a financial analyst.
Hello. Ha, madam.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
हा मॅडम, तुमचं जे प्लेसमेंट सेल जे आहे विद्यापीठाचं ते खूप चांगलं वर्क करतं. तर त्याच्या मागचं म्हणजे ते कसं वर्क करता आणि आता जे आमचे विद्यार्थी जे पास आउट झालेले आहेत त्यांना जॉब सर्चिंग करता कसा फायदा होईल व काय करायला हवं, त्यांनी काही कोर्सेस करायला हवे की डायरेक्ट अप्लाय कसं करतात तुम्ही? आणि जे आता MSc फर्स्टला आहेत ते आता सेकंडला जातील तर त्यांनी ते प्लेसमेंट सेल आमच्याकडे पण आहे, परंतु कंपनीज आमच्याकडे शक्यतो आम्ही भरपूर अप्लाय केलं पण येत नाही. तर त्यासाठी काय करायला हवं असं मला वाटतंय.
Okay. So here there are two questions on actuarial science also. So for actuarial science jobs, ideally you would need, if you want to survive and continue in that job, you will also need certification from Actuarial Society, that is Institute of Actuaries of India. So those who have completed 12th with mathematics, they can apply for ACET. ACET is Actuarial Common Entrance Test. So visit the website of Institute of Actuaries of India, fill the form for ACET, clear ACET, and then you can clear papers one by one. So there are math stats papers, CS1. There is a paper called CS1, which you can try in BSc level also. Otherwise, after MSc, if you want to join for actuarial science, it is always better to have at least 1 or 2 papers cleared. Okay. So the syllabus and study material, everything is available on Institute of Actuaries of India website. Now, as Ufade sir was asking, those who are in MSc first year or even those who are in MSc second year, I would say first revise whatever concepts you have studied. I have prepared, for our placement cell, I had prepared some questions which are mostly focused on, explaining concepts to a layman. So try that. Catch hold of any person who is willing to listen to you and explain to that person what you did in statistics or what you did as part of your MSc project, what you did as part of your BSc project, etc. That is a big start. Then there are some technical questions also. Perhaps I could share that questions with Ufade sir, and then you could also get access to those. So prepare answers to those questions. That would give you some starting material to talk in the interviews. Secondly, if possible, try to do some free online course on Python and SQL. I'm insisting on free online course. I really don't recommend spending money on these because many online courses are much better than many paid courses out there. Okay. So I strongly advise you against joining any paid course. There are many free online courses, many books available freely. So try to study some Python and some SQL. It is always nice to have Python, R, and SQL, these three skills on your CV. But I'm assuming R you must be already knowing. You must have used some R in BSc and MSc. Try to improve programming skills. Okay. There are websites like HackerRank, which give you problems in increasing order of difficulty. So they start with very simple programming problems and then they increase the level of difficulty. So try those. Make sure you are comfortable with at least basic programming. Okay. And secondly, make sure that you can communicate well. Try talking in English with people around you. Okay. In fact, nowadays you have smartphones. So record every day, record answer of something in English. It need not be a statistical question. It could be some general question. Try to record the answer in English. Try to listen to that answer after 72 hours. And I'm sure you yourself will find some mistakes or some areas of improvement. Okay. So do try that. That's a very good habit. Okay. And those who are not comfortable talking in English, simply try thinking in English. What we do is we think in Marathi and we try to translate, and that causes a lot of problems. So try thinking in English first. When you are traveling, when you are walking, when you are driving a two-wheeler, try to think in English. We are always thinking, right? Our brain never stops. We are always thinking something or other. So try to think in English. That way your brain will start thinking in English and you will start developing your responses also in English. Okay? Because communication is also important for getting jobs. And for placement cell, I would say yes, for a college, it is difficult to attract companies. For ours, the history is established. So we get same recruiters almost every year. But still, I would say what you can do is create a LinkedIn account for your college placement cell and start following major companies. And whenever they post something, then right now what you can do is whenever they post any opening, then encourage your students to directly apply there. Even if they don't visit to college, if students directly apply, they can get in. Or at that time, then you can send an email saying that we have, say, 30 students who fit your requirement. Okay, that could be a start. And then you have your past students working in some organizations. You can try writing to them. You can try asking them if there are openings in their companies. But I would say that's how we have to start because it will take a bit of time to get established in the market. And the questions I will share because those questions can help the students to get prepared for the interviews. Those I will share over email.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, someone has asked what is the syllabus for DSO. Syllabus is actually much, it is mainly focused on what is done in BSc and MSc statistics, but not the entire syllabus of BSc and MSc statistics. It is mainly things like sampling and design of experiments and basic inference. Someone has asked which book should be used for MSc entrance of SPPU. I would say the focus should be on problem solving. That is I feel that majority people who cannot crack SPPU entrance, the reason is they don't know how to solve problems. They know the definitions, they know the theorems, they know the proofs, but they don't know how to solve problems. So I would say pick up any book. I don't mind even if you take Gupta Kapoor. I know many people hate Gupta Kapoor, but I would say what is important is you move out of your Nirali Manali books. Okay. Nirali Manali books are okay for your BSc syllabus, but they don't give you interesting problems. So what you can do is pick books like Gun Gupta, Das Gupta or Rohatgi and start or Shom series and check their problems and try solving problems. Don't just read the books. Entrance question papers for IIT and ISI are available online. So check those question papers. Try solving those problems. For those question papers, even solutions are available. And I would say for IIT or ISI, for ISI, don't just check MStat. I would say check even BSTAT entrance paper, because I'm sure some of those questions are also difficult for you guys, even if they are to be solved by 12th standard maths level. Okay. So check those online papers, check the solutions, and always start by solving problems. If you feel that, okay, I will first read the book, I will finish reading the book, and then I will go into the problems, you will never do that, because reading books takes a lot of time. So directly start by looking at a problem, and then once you read the problem, then you know that, okay, what is necessary for it? Distribution theory is necessary. So go and read the relevant part of the distribution theory from the book. Okay. And if you are in BSc third year or if you are in BSc second year, I would say advise you create a notebook where on each page you have a different topic. For example, on page 1, you can simply write heading as Bernoulli distribution. Page 2, uniform distribution. Page 3, Poisson distribution. Okay. And what you do, whenever you come across a new result related to that distribution, list it on that page. No proof, just the statement of the result or the formulae for PDF, PMF, MGF, CDF, all those things. Okay. And you keep that notebook. I mean, every page should be separate, because in third year you might come across some new results. So add those there, so that when you are trying to solve problems, you can simply open that page and see, okay, these are the results available to me. Which result can I use from all these? And when you are going for the actual entrance, just the day before the entrance, you don't have to read anything else. Just read that notebook, because that notebook will help you revise all the key results. Okay. So prepare such notebooks. How to prepare for off-campus placements? As I said, improve communication, try talking statistics to anyone you come across. And as I said, I will send you some questions, read and try to answer those questions. I have almost a list of 100 questions, but I'm sure in the interview you will get new questions. But these questions would give you a confidence to answer the new questions. And try focusing on improving your programming skills and communication skills. Yes, Brushali. Anything else? Any other question? And when you are applying for off-campus placement, what I see is, for example, suppose I'm an employer who has posted something on LinkedIn saying that, okay, I need people with this profile. Generally, what people do is they simply send a CV without even subject line, without even renaming the CV. The name of that file is CV1 final, something like that. So that shows me that you are very casual and you don't need a job. So don't do that. Okay. Whenever you are applying for a job, make sure that you write at least 2-paragraph email text which describes why the person should hire you. Okay. And when I say why the person should hire you, not just the fancy lines copied from internet. You write something about the skills that you have learned. You write 1 or 2 lines about the project that you have done. Okay. So after reading the email, the person should feel like opening your CV. And CV should be neat, clearly visible. Important things should be easily visible. Immediately after opening the CV, person should be able to see them, and it should be grammatically and spelling wise correct. If you are not confident about your grammar and spelling, ask someone else to do that for you. Okay. For example, majority people don't know how to write BSc. Okay. So B dot and S dot and C dot, that's how they write. If you don't know the name of your degree, nobody is going to hire you. Okay. So make sure that your CV has all those things. And as I said, try learning Python, R, SQL, and try improving communication skill. Okay. For PhD entrance and SET exam, which book is good? For PhD entrance and SET, I would suggest you go through our syllabus. MSc syllabus for our department is available online on our website. And that MSc syllabus gives the list of books for every topic. So I would say for whichever topic you want, you read those books. Okay. Which is better, Masters in Data Science or Masters in Core Statistics? I would suggest Masters in Core Statistics is better, because that gives you more options. Okay, this RBI and administrative options are available if you are in data science. If you want to go to teaching in a later stage, core statistics is going to give you better options. Core statistics with some own practice of programming, I would say, is better than simply data science. That's my personal opinion, of course. You said that create a book with filled new topic on each new page. Can we create such a book now, from now on FYBSc statistics? Yes, I would be very happy if someone does that from FYBSc. Because I would say that in FY and SY you have a lot of time, so you can spend time on preparing such a book, which would be useful for you in third year. Create a book and keep adding things to it, and at the end of 3 years, send me the book. I'll give you something. Okay. I mean,
Okay, ma'am.
I advise it to everyone, but nobody does it. So if I can actually find someone who follows through that for 3 years, I'll be very much happy to see it, and I don't mind giving you a prize for that. What is the difference between data analytics course and data science? There are many debates about it, and I really don't want to get into it. But I would say data science is a more wider term. Data analytics might involve just analyzing things. Data science also involves making it palatable to your clients, presenting it in a nice way, or understanding the problem of the clients and framing it in a way in which data analyst can understand. Data analyst is mainly limited to data analysis, whereas data science would involve understanding the problem, explaining the solution, all those parts also. But many a times they are used interchangeably. So there is no really very hard and fast definition. But good, people, so many people asked questions. I'm happy about that.
No, I think there are no questions, ma'am.
Yeah. And later also, if you have any questions, you can drop me an email. My email ID was on my presentation. In case you have not noted it, then I'm typing it here. But if you drop me an email, do mention that you are a student of KTHM and you listen to this lecture, because I don't know your names. And secondly, don't expect response immediately, because sometimes people feel that I'm online 24/7 and I should respond immediately. No, that's not how it works. But if I don't respond to you within like 5 days, then you can send me a reminder. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Your guidance will help our students.
प्रतीक्षा आवाज येत नाही तुमचा व्यवस्थित.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Definitely your guidance will help our students. So it's time for vote of thanks. So firstly, I would like to thank to Department of Statistics, KTHM College Nasik, for organizing such wonderful program. Thank you so much to our chief guest, Dr. Akanksha Kashikar ma'am, for giving their valuable time and guidance. Thank you to head of department, Dr. Ganesh First sir. Thank you to all the teachers of Statistics Department for their constant support and encouragement. Lastly, thank you so much to all the students for connecting and making success of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. The lecture was very nice.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can I leave the meeting now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our meeting is over.